And you may begin.
Got milk? Whether you do or not, it is one of the most fascinating topics in the universe.
We are going to share some information on the history, nutrition, the animals, raw versus regular, along with the conspiracy, pasteurization, diseases, and some moving facts.
The history is very interesting and helps provide some background information about milk. As stated by milkprogram.org, milk has been used for centuries, all the way back to the agricultural revolution 10,000 BC. Ever since the domestication of cows, people have used milk. Afghanistan was the first area to drink milk regularly as we do today. In Egypt, milk was strictly reserved for royalty. The Mongols were the first people to use powdered milk. Marco Polo recorded this in 1275 after he stayed in Mongolia. Cows were brought over to North America around the 1600s, but Europeans weren't originally able to drink milk. They slowly had to adapt the ability to digest lactose. People who are lactose intolerant means they can't digest this, so if they consume it, they'll get sick. Milk was drank in ancient times to compensate for vitamin D deficiencies, and most of the time it was cleaner than the water they had access to. The first pasteurization test was in 1862 by the famous researcher Louis Pasteur. Milk was first bottled in 1884 in New York. By the 1930s, paper cartons were invented, replacing the bottle, which allowed for wider distribution of milk. According to Inventors.com, in 1932, plastic cartons were introduced and commercially used. The first instance of milk being transported by rail was in 1840s when St. Thomas Hospital contacted local milk suppliers to bring milk by rail to the hospital. In 1990, this milk supplying company had transported over 25 million gallons of milk by railway. In 1891, Sheffield Farms Dairy in Bloomingfield, New Jersey, was the first facility to install pasteurization equipment, and Chicago was the first major city to pass laws requiring commercially sold milk to be pasteurized.
Not only is history very interesting, but milk also has a lot of nutritional values. Milk is packed with 9 essential vitamins: calcium, potassium, phosphorus, protein, vitamin A, B, and D, riboflavin, and niacin, and each serve a significant role in our body. As stated in nutritionaldata.com, milk stores antibodies and carries them to babies to stop diseases. Milk is approximately 87% water, so it's a good source of water in our diet. A common myth among Americans is that chocolate milk is unhealthy for us, but chocolate milk actually includes all the 9 essential vitamins that white milk does. Nutrition is very important in our diet, and the daily recommendation for teens our age is 3 cups a day. According to DairyMakesSense.com, diets that include milk are leaner than non-milk drinkers and breakfast skippers. Milk is approximately 3.4% fat and 3.3% protein. Minerals have many roles in the body, including enzyme function, bone formation, water balance, and oxygen transport. They help the body use carbohydrates, protein, and fat. The electrolytes in milk help you stay hydrated as you sweat during activities. 99% of your body calcium resistance is in your bone and teeth, so by not drinking milk, it increases your chance of getting osteoporosis. The amount of milk each person should drink daily is children ages 2 to 13 should get 2 cups, girls and boys ages 9 to 18 should get 3 cups, and women and men ages 19 to 50 and up should get 3 cups.
The nutrition about milk is very educational, but I bet you did not know about all the animals that you can get milk from. According to milk.procon.org in 2008, cows are the main animal that the world's milks come from. 9 out of 10 glasses of milk come from a cow. Cow milk is the most used milk because it's easiest to access and is the most efficient animal to milk. In 2012, FairBurnWaterBuffalo.com said that water buffaloes are the next animal that produces the most milk. In India, they produce over half of the milk consumed there. Many participants prefer water buffalo milk over the milk of cows, goats, and artificially manufactured milk. Water buffalo milk is smoother and more pleasing to the taste palate. Goat milk is another option in the world. Goat's milk is the easiest milk to digest. It is also slightly sweeter than the cow's milk. In an 8-ounce glass, there are 168 calories. Reindeer milk is a very rare option of milk. The fat content of reindeer milk is 6 times the amount in cow milk. It's the only source of milk for people in northern Scandinavia because that's the only animal that can survive the temperatures there. It's usually consumed in small amounts, and it's mostly used for flavorings in different types of sour milk products. Horse milk is one of the milks that is not usually drank alone, but mixed with something else. Horse milk is sometimes referred to as kumis. Some Mongolian warriors over 700 years ago made a paste from horse milk and would mix it with water and drink it on the go. In southeastern Russia, people will mix horse milk with other liquids to make a slightly alcoholic drink. Sheep milk is another milk that is used for other things besides drinking. Most of the world's sheep milk is turned into different types of cheese. Sheep milk also has twice the fat content of cow's milk. Camel milk is one of the longest lasting milks. Camel milk can last up to 7 days at 86 degrees Fahrenheit, and it can also last up to 3 months if it's properly refrigerated. Camel milk is also a milk that is consumed by people that have a lactose intolerance. Yak milk is a milk that's not drunk in many places, but one of the places that it is drank in is in Tibet. And Tibet is a country in Asia that's right beside China. People in Tibet make this milk into yak butter tea, and it tastes like a salty, creamy soup. And the last milk that I'll talk about is hippo milk. Hippo milk is pink in color. It's pink because the hippo secretes a red-colored mucus, and it mixes with the sweat, and that mingles with the milk. So really, if you drink hippo milk, you're drinking hippo milk mixed with sweat and mucus.
There are also many types of milk. The most common types are whole, reduced fat, which is 2%, low fat, which is 1%, skim, organic, and lactose-free. Organic has no chemicals used in any way. So when they were making the milk, no cows were in contact with any chemicals, and when they were making it, it had no chemicals. Skim is most of the fat is removed, and it has 1%, less than 1% fat content, and it's kind of watery. Whole milk has more than 3% fat, and it's mainly used for babies for their formula, so it makes them bulk up. 1% has 102 calories for every 8 fluid ounces, and 2% has 137 calories for every 8 fluid ounces. And this picture just shows the calories for the milk and the fat, protein, and calcium, and it just compares them to other foods or the other types of milk.
Alright, so there is also one other type of milk, and this is raw milk. There's a very large debate and controversy over raw milk versus regular milk. The difference between the two is that raw milk comes straight out of a cow, while regular milk goes through the pasteurization process, which we will discuss later. The difference in these lead them to have very different nutrition facts. While we already briefly talked about regular milks, we'll discuss some of raw milks. According to CDC.gov in 2013, raw milk is plumb full of healthy bacteria that is good for your gastrointestinal tract. It has over 60 digestive enzymes, growth factors, and antibodies. It is good in conjugated linoleic acid, CLA, which helps fight cancer. It's got vitamins A, B, C, D, E, and K, as well as several minerals such as calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and iron. It contains raw fats, amino acids, and proteins. And it also is common for people who have milk allergies to consume raw milk just fine, which is something that they cannot do with regular pasteurized milk. So along with this raw versus regular battle is a conspiracy theory that has grown fairly large. The theory is that raw milk is better for you, but the government is keeping stores from selling raw milk commercially. The raw milk side says that pasteurized milk causes nutrition loss, a lowering of bone density, and increased tooth decay. All of these benefits in nutrition of raw milk over regular milk has led several people to believe that there is some sort of conspiracy behind this. Some people believe that the government is trying to pasteurize milk in order to weaken people so that they can control them better. However, the more common theory is that the health department is wanting to make people sick intentionally so that they can raise a cure for it. However, the conventional side of it says that the government prevents a sale to prevent you from consuming bad bacteria that can make you sick. According to CDC.gov on March 2014, 79% of milk-related illnesses were a result of raw milk. They also said that even if a cow is healthy, it could still carry harmful germs such as E. coli 0157, Campylobacter, and Salmonella, which can get you sick.
Raw milk versus regular milk is a very good lead-in for the topic of pasteurization. The pasteurization of milk was invented by a guy named Louis Pasteur. He discovered it in the 19th century. Pasteur discovered that heating milk quickly at a high temperature and then cooling it quickly before bottling it increased the time that milk could stay fresh. You have to heat the milk to a minimum of 160 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds. And heating the milk there kills 99.9% of bacteria, and the shelf life is approximately 16 to 21 days after it was packaged. According to OrganicValley.coop in 2012, there are 2 different pasteurization processes. The one that I described before is called traditional pasteurization. The other process is called ultrapasteurization. In this process, the milk gets heated to 280 degrees for only 2 seconds. This makes for an even longer shelf life of the milk. This process was only offered starting in 1998. There are a couple of purposes for pasteurization. It increases the safety of milk for the consumer. Pasteurization also increases the shelf life of milk by destroying microorganisms and enzymes that spoil the milk. However, many of these bacteria are likely to survive the process. They are just unlikely to cause spoilage and diseases.
So wasn't pasteurization interesting? But just wait, now we're going to discuss diseases and deficiencies. So according to article Mercola.com in 2012, milk is one of the riskiest foodborne illnesses around. To start off, we're going to describe how it can occur. One way you can get sick is from a cow that has diseases such as tuberculosis and bovine. You can also get ill from a cow that has mastitis, which is the infection of a cow's udder. Cow feces can also come into direct contact with the milk and get you sick. Also, insects, rodents, and other various vector animals can get you sick and ruin the milk. And then also bacteria that lives on cow's skin can get inside the milk and contaminate it. Humans can also spoil the milk by means of cross-examination. For example, things like spoiled clothing coming into contact with the milk. And finally, the environment can ruin it by things like dirt getting in it and contaminated processing equipment. So here's some of the most common milk-related viruses and bacteria that you can get sick from. These would include Campylobacter, Listeria, Salmonella, Staphylococcus, and E. coli 0157. So now, let's move on to who can get these diseases and how you can prevent it. Infants, pregnant women, elderly, and people with a weakened immune system have the greatest chance of getting sick. And some common causes of these diseases are viral infection and foodborne illnesses. The only way you can prevent milk-related sickness is to have the milk go through the pasteurization process, which kills a lot of the bacteria in it. Some other precautions you can take is don't drink raw milk, keep dairy products refrigerated and within the expiration date marked on the packages, and be careful when you travel to developing nations. Follow the recommended sanitary precautions for the country you are in, and do not eat raw dairy products. There is also one main allergy for milk, and that is lactose intolerance. A lactose intolerance is when people cannot drink or eat any dairy products. It means that you're not able to fully digest the lactose in milk.
Diseases can be very educational and heavy with information, so these milk facts should provide some relief. Some dermatologists have shown that a high consumption of milk can cause zits and acne. Cows produce 90% of the world's milk. An average American will consume about 25 gallons of milk in a year. Milk can stay fresh longer if you add a pinch of salt to every gallon, and it's proven that cows give off more milk when they listen to music. Grade A milk is directly consumed, while Grade B milk is made into products like yogurts and cheeses. Save Our Bones is an organization against the consumption of milk. It takes 21 pounds of milk to create 1 pound of butter. Milk is the official state drink of Minnesota. Milk has been proven to reduce the risk of some diabetes and cancers. And the countries with the highest osteoporosis rates are the countries that drink the most milk.
So, you got milk?
Hey, I'm you, from the future.
You're me.
I know. Drink this.
It's working! Keep drinking! We did it!
Because they do.
I hope you learn more information on milk, ranging from the history to the nutrition to the animals to the raw versus regular milk, along with the conspiracy that goes with it, to pasteurization, the diseases and facts, and the different types of milk that there are. I hope that you found milk as interesting as we did.